grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters, grandmasters and predecessors, for this opportunity to talk about this topic. Okay, so it's trying to summarize the Heart Sutra. Okay, so the title is really the heart of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. Okay, so it's the mind of perfect wisdom. Right? Now, the angle that we use here is kind of based on from kind of more of a Buddha nature study perspective of the sutra. Okay, so I'm basing this on Lecture Liu's his interpretation or his explanation of the sutra. Right. Okay, so in essence, basically this Heart Sutra. Okay, so that's in short. That's what we call it. It's only 260 words in Chinese. Okay, so it's very short. It's very short, and so it's. This actually may not have been an original one of the sutras. Okay, so this is probably like it's extracted from what we call the Prajnaparamita Sutras. There's a period of time during Buddha's teaching that he's talking about his perfect wisdom, Prajnaparamita. And so this is actually extracted from those sutras. Okay, so this is trying to basically the essence of all those teachings. Okay, so if you can understand this, then you don't need to read the rest of it, right?
Well, you should introduce that Prajna period. What's the fourth period? Because that's the right there. Alapasaka, Agama, Vayopuya, Prajna, and Nirvana. So those are the 5 periods during Buddha's teaching over 45 years, 45 plus. And I think the Prajna period lasted 8 or 12 years, so one of those. So during that period, there are many, you can say, teachings that Buddha gave, and they're all categorized as this Prajna period during that period. And many sutras arose from that period, okay? Just understand. As a matter of fact, if you're under that classification, if you go to the, what about that, the Da Zhang Jing, I mean, the Da Zhang, the great treasure, I mean, if you look at the Buddha scripture, the Prajnaparamita Sutra are the longest, okay? And the Heart Sutra is, you can say, it's a condensed version or summary, maybe that's a better term, summarizing all these, because it's so long, that's many volumes, I forgot, it's long, okay, it's the longest, all right? So it's the shortest. But the Diamond Sutra is also part of there too, by the way. Diamond Sutra came from those Prajnaparamita Sutras. And Diamond Sutra is not that long either. It's relatively short. It's like what, 11? I forgot, 31 chapters, but it's only 1 page per chapter or 2 pages. It's very short. So the Diamond Sutra also summarizes it. But the key is this. All the Prajnaparamita Sutra, I mean, Prajna means, you can say divine wisdom. Yeah, you translate it innate, yeah, pure, innate. Yeah, it's the divine wisdom. The wisdom, some people say spiritual, it's the wisdom within all of us. It's actually the wisdom of our Buddha nature. That's another way to look at it, okay? Actually, it talks about, we say wisdom, divine wisdom, spiritual wisdom, innate wisdom, okay? Perfect wisdom, okay? As opposed to human wisdom, okay? But we'll define that later. But that's why I say it's from our Buddha nature. The wisdom of our Buddha nature, essentially, you can call it. You can say there's one theme, one common theme, or common thread throughout all the Prajnaparamita Sutras. And what's that theme? What's that theme? It's sunyata. The Sanskrit term was sunyata. We call it kong, emptiness. But it's not the emptiness of, but we say space. That's the thing. It's not like that. Okay, so don't think of it that way. All right? Okay.
Emptiness with the Buddha nature. So it's
Okay. All right. So basically, we can say that because, I mean, we are not Buddhas, right? Because we are abiding in forms, right? In this world, that we live in this world, we abide in forms, right? So that's why we're not Buddhas, and so we're not truly enlightened. So all these sutras, all the teachings are trying to get us to realize that, right? These forms are empty, empty, but we'll talk about that. And to break through that, it's basically an illusion, okay? And actually, from the scientific point of view today, some physicists, they're starting to see that the world that we perceive is an illusion. Okay, so they're getting to the point where they're almost coming to the point of realizing what Buddha said already. Okay, that it's all an illusion, right? All right, so we need to. But how do we break through? Seeing through this illusion of the forms. We have to use that true wisdom, that perfect wisdom, that prajna that's within, that's part of us. It's innate, okay? It's not something that we learn through knowledge, okay? We can't gain it through knowledge. It's already there. It's just that we need to reveal it, let it out, by getting rid of all the other stuff, okay? That's obstructing it, okay? Which is, mainly our conscious mind, our mind of duality, okay? So we have to work on that, and so that's what this thing talks about. All right, so the very first, at the beginning of the sutra is, in the Chinese, it is Guanzizai Pusa. Okay, so you'll see translations. Okay, so the other thing about these sutras or any Buddhist teachings is that there are like two levels to interpret or explain it at, and one is kind of superficial. So if you look at the words, that's the name or title of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Okay, so Guanyin Bodhisattva. And that's how it is in Chinese. But that's just a superficial thing. Now, it has a profound meaning. Okay, so Guan, right, is to perceive or to observe, right? But what we're observing with is not our human eyes. Okay,
not the sixth sense.
Yeah, not through our normal senses, which are subject to the changes and duality, and biases, all that. So we have to use that true mind's eye.
The sixth sense is going to be full too.
Yeah, right. We have to use that, and then to observe what this free or liberated bodhisattva, or this self, the enlightened self or awakened self within. Okay, so we all have that Buddha nature. That is that awakened self. So we are all
Buddhas.
Potential Buddhas. Okay, we're not. Yeah, I mean the Buddha's inside. It's just that it's not. Evident. It's not evident, okay, in our actions. Okay, so we need to reveal it, right? And so we need to see that. Look inside. So self-reflection. Look inside to see that Buddha that's inside. Okay, because we tend to think of ourselves as basically it's the other thing about the sutra is talking about skandhas. Okay, the 5 skandhas, which that's really what. We think of as ourselves, okay, through those skandhas. But anyways, all right. So, so we need to self-reflect, right, on this true nature of ours, right? This true self. It's truly liberated. It's truly free. Okay, so it has no attachments. It doesn't create karma, right? That's the ego side, the human side. The human nature is the one that creates all that stuff. Okay, so we need to kind of look past that, break through that, and get to our true nature. And so we want to use this mind of this, this wisdom to observe and perceive all the phenomena, right? All the phenomena in the world. And what this sutra is telling us is that it's all empty. As I said, it's sunyata. It's all empty. But we'll talk about what that means. All right. Okay. So then the next line is talking about the 5 skandhas. Okay, so this is obviously these are very 2 important things. The most important things, talked about right up front. So saying that these 5 skandhas are aggregates. Okay, that's the meaning of the skandhas. Aggregates are truly empty. Right? They don't really. They're not real. Okay. So what are these 5 skandhas? Okay. So the first skandha is the object or the body, okay, so it's our body, physical body. Then the next 4 are part of our mind, okay, so we have, with our body, we have sensation, we have feeling, right? And then from that, we also perceive things. We can conceive right? Of have an image of what we're sensing, right? And then after that, then we have what we call volition, which is maybe like an intent, okay, based
Impulse.
on an impulse based on the sensation and the perception. And then after that, finally, we have the conscious attachment. Okay, so it enters into our consciousness.
Hey, another just for the third one, right? Third one.
Perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it as perception. It's not through your sense. It's more like a conception. You get an idea. You get a notion.
Yeah.
You have a notion. Just a notion. It could be vague. It doesn't have to be detailed. It could be very vague. That's really what that perception means.
Yeah. At that level.
It's mental level. It's mental.
Yeah. It's all.
Mental.
This is all mental. I mean, at that level, you're able to distinguish.
Yeah, you have
From
a
what
conception.
you're sensing, you can distinguish.
Yeah, you have an idea.
This is hot. This is
Yeah.
cold.
Formation.
Light and dark. You can sense.
Yeah,
so
like-
you can,
yeah.
when you form an
Yeah,
image.
some
You
kind
have
of
like
thought.
a mental
Yeah.
image
Yeah.
of what it is.
Mental
Okay,
image,
sense
mental
it.
thought. Yeah.
So,
when our
well, thought is
portals,
mental.
when our portals come into contact with the outside circumstances,
Yeah, it
Right,
creates a.
Yeah, this is right. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. We'll talk
later.
about
Yeah.
that. But this is just talking about the skandhas themselves. Okay, so this is part of us, or it's part
Well,
of
actually,
our
all
existence,
sentient beings
our
have
existence,
this.
right? So we go through this. It's like a
Actually,
process. It's like a process. Okay. But what we want to do is to realize that it's all empty. Okay, so even this physical body is
You could
empty
define what
in
that
the sense that it's impermanent. Okay, it's
Yeah.
impermanent, it's subject to change,
Right.
right? Before we were born, this body didn't exist.
Right.
And 100 years later, it's not going to exist either. But of course, in the meantime, it seems very real. Okay, in the
That's all we
meantime-
see,
No, no.
right? All we feel.
It is real.
Yeah.
See, let's be careful. When we talk about emptiness or sunyata, it doesn't mean that things don't exist.
Right.
It doesn't mean that. See, we should separate the notion of people always say, oh, if it's empty, then it's not real. Don't think of that way. Don't think of that way. It just means that it's not permanent. It's not permanent.
Yeah, so that's very key, because then knowing that it's not permanent, then that tells us how we should deal with it.
Right.
Okay, so it's not the fact that we should go into denial and ignore it. Say, oh, I don't care, right? This is not real anyways. But
It's not eternal.
it's not that. It's just how we should deal with it, what our perspective should be, regarding
Proper
it.
view.
Yeah, having that proper view. So that's also in the it mentions in the sutra. Okay, so understanding that it's impermanent. So people spend so much time trying to the upkeep, even trying to make them look beautiful, whatever. Right? It only lasts for so long, right? And so how much time, effort you put into that in the end, it's a waste. Okay, you can say it's wasted effort.
Let me add one sentence. Holy teacher said we take our whole body seriously. We try to extend our life, see we can eat good stuff so we can prolong our life. But we take care of our physical body. But Holy teacher will say, we didn't take care of our original spirits, which is our Buddha nature. We didn't take care of that. We take care of our body only, which only lasts 100 years.
Yeah, the 5 skandhas are just temporary.
Our spirits, so original Buddha nature could last thousands of years.
It's eternal.
Eternal, yeah.
Right. So So
Thank you.
the idea is that we want to understand, see our true Buddha nature, and then act according to our Buddha nature, as opposed to our senses, following our senses. Okay.
Can you explain Buddha nature just in 2 sentences? Because I know we got new people there.
Well, the Buddha nature is the different levels. I mean, it's like the life force. It's the essence. Okay, it's the essence of our being. Okay, it's what we really are. It's not the physical being. It's not even at that spiritual level that we talk about. That's like the level of the chi or energy, right? It's beyond that. Okay, it's indescribable. But it's what gives us awareness. I mean, that's what becomes aware. Okay, that is what it causes us to be aware, for one, right? And it gives us, allows us to do things. Okay, so but you can say that it is like. It's like God, okay? It's part of God, okay?
Or
So
you can say this way. Buddha nature is our original spirit without attachment, without all the desires, without all the bad habit, dead parent, all those stuff, but it's pure original. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Just keep it simple. You know?
Remember, what's that, 2 weeks ago, didn't we talk about the Trikaya?
yeah,
So the Buddha nature is our Dhammakaya.
yeah, I'll get to that.
Oh, you get to that?
So, all right,
Thank
so,
Thank you.
so then, okay, so once we realize that our body, this body is impermanent, it's empty, okay, so, what follows is our senses, right? Through our body, we have senses. Then we need to realize that the senses are empty, okay? So how do we do that? We have to view all phenomena, everything that we can sense as also being empty, impermanent, right? They're subject to change and all that. So basically, a lot of people, or everyone basically, we react to the changes in the phenomena in this world, the things around us, right? Through our senses, if it's hot, I react a certain way. If it's cold, I react a certain way, right? Or if I deal with certain people, they say something or they do something, I react differently. Okay, so those are. It's based on, again, it's like this chain reaction, okay, through our senses. Again, we have to have that proper view of how we sense things, how we feel, right? How we respond, how we react to things, right? Again, keep in mind that everything is impermanent, okay? So that impermanent also means that it's not as important, okay? It's not that important, right? So don't emphasize it too much on these. You can say it's all pretty trivial, right? And then the next one is, so once we realize that, then we can say it's empty. The senses through our sensations is empty. Then that there will be no perception. So these are at higher levels. Okay, so above sensation, we have the perception or conception of an image. Okay, we don't form any kind of a biased view of things. All right, right, and then above that, then we have the volition. So once we don't do that, so we just treat everything as it is. Okay, so we don't say I like and dislike. Okay, because those are part of that duality that we have to try to break free from. Right. So once we have like and dislike, then we're going to have volition. Okay, so volition saying, I like this, so I want this. I want to get something or do something. If I don't like it, same thing. I want to avoid it or whatever. Okay, so that gets rid of that. And then finally, the conscious attachment. So it doesn't stick in our mind that we are, thinking of it, and then once it becomes a conscious attachment, then we can't let it go. Okay, so it's always there, and then we're constantly either reminded of it. At some point it pops up, a thought pops up about that, etc. So that's kind of the thing that we need to try to work on, right? So the 5 skandhas. So we don't want to let it coalesce. Coalescing. See, our life, this physical life, right, is a coalescing or coincidence of the result of karma. Okay, so
Confluence.
everything, confluence of all the causes and conditions that, we already planted seeds, the cause before, and then so once you plant that seed, it's going to grow. Okay, when the conditions are right. Okay, when the conditions are right, it will grow. Okay, so this is part of the law of causality, that whatever karmic seeds we plant, we must bear the consequences later on, okay? Unless we change things, okay? So, and we can do that through cultivation. But
one thing very important, Holy Teacher always mentioned that, because we could have done a lot of things in previous life, a lot of affinity are there, but without this lifetime, we could think, we could do other things. We might make those affinity mature to make something happen. So if we maintain with no thought, those affinity we have done previous lifetime will not be mature enough to make something happen. So when we have nothing to do, poetics, get rid of all the affinity, do not raise a single thought. With the no thought, it's conditioned, the probably the best one.
Yeah, what you guys are talking in more detail, if you want to get more technical, it's really what we call, when we say causality is kind of maybe too broad, but actually it's composed, if you want to break it down, there are primary and secondary. Okay, so primary is you did it, whatever. You said it, you thought it, you did it, whatever. The secondary is, let's say, after, previous, right? You planted the seed. But secondary is like, okay, it's like Master Mark was trying to say is that if you think about it, if you become attached to it, right? Okay, those are secondary causes, and that could accelerate. You could accelerate or enhance. You could say enhance or promote the fruition of the primary cause. Get it? Conditions. These are secondary. It's just like say you planted a seed, but if you don't have sunlight, no water, it's not going to grow. I mean, it's not going to sprout, right? But then if you become attached and see, oh yeah, you pour water, you add fertilizer, sunlight, what's going to happen? You're going to promote it to grow, right? So same concept, same logic. Okay,
Yeah, so,
that's what it is.
So it's important that, because we don't know what kind of karmic seeds we planted before, right? So any kind of attachments, any kind of biases, whatever that we have today, right now that we do things, that can be that secondary cause that brings about the right
Promote,
conditions,
yeah.
promote that karma to come into
Bear fruit.
bear
Right.
fruit, right? So we have. That's why we have to.
What we call cultivate.
Yeah, we have to cultivate, make sure we do the right things, don't do the wrong things, etc. Right? So to avoid that
Right.
condition.
You can say to
from coming-
cut off those secondary
Yeah,
conditions,
right.
or to minimize or mitigate. Okay.
Actually, you did say something, beware of your thoughts.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
taking
that's the
the
same
info.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
same-
why
same-
think careful about your thought.
Yeah.
Every day gotta be maintained, no thoughts.
That's why it has to be pure and clean. Pure, whatever. Non-dualistic. Non-biased. All
Don't
that.
attach to
But
that.
basically, all these attachments, things like that. It's from the 5 skandhas. So that's why it says we don't want to let it coalesce, don't let it congeal, form, into these attachments. So we need to. That's why we need to view it. Says to break through. View it as all being empty. Right. Okay. So, but what we have to use, as I mentioned earlier, use that prajna, that perfect wisdom inside to realize that all forms are void or sunyata. Okay. Normally, we think using the normal cognitive process of reasoning, right? We do comparison and inference, right? So that's the normal human process of using our mind, okay? That's the conscious mind. But what we need to do is use our direct or immediate reasoning comprehension, using that prajna wisdom from our Bodhi mind, okay? So it doesn't have to go through any thinking, okay? So it's innate. It's called noumenon. I mean, it's basically you know what it is without going through any using knowledge or thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give an example?
Yeah.
Here's an example. Since it's 12:15 already. Anybody have stomach growling? Okay, so let me see. If your stomach is growling, do you have to, let's say, use your cognitive reasoning? Say, let's see. Let me look up a manual and say, let's see. What are the symptoms if my stomach is growling? What does it indicate? Stomach ache or whatever, diarrhea, whatever. No. You don't have to look it up, right? You know, you're hungry. Hello, right? You know. You just know. Nobody has to teach you. A baby, if they're hungry, they're going to cry. They know they're hungry. They know they want something to eat. They need milk or something, whatever, baby food, whatever. Okay? So you know. So the same idea. That's the idea of our prajna wisdom. That wisdom comes from our Buddha nature. You don't, or yeah. Conscience is a lower level, but that's okay. Yeah, you can say Buddha conscience, but just lack of words. But so that wisdom is not learned. Okay, we can learn things. We study, yes, to help us get closer. Or another way, that's like going there. Another way to say is we cultivate to help us get rid of our skandha. You get it? Our conscious mind and all that. So that what's left or revealed is our Buddha nature. Now, the prajna, Buddha nature, or that wisdom, can be divided into many different forms, right? I don't know, Tai, you're going to talk about it? There's the divine observing wisdom, equal universal wisdom. Yeah, those types, but that's more technical, that's maybe more advanced.
Let me make one simple example, which our holy teacher always mention. So if you saw someone go across the street, the kids, nobody accompanied with the kids, will you go out to help the kids immediately? So you just do it at the moment and
Right,
try
so
to.
you know it, right? So you don't have to think about
You
it.
don't have to think about it. At the moment, that's based on our conscience. our Buddha nature to do it. So that's the moment. It is okay. Did anybody watching me? I'm doing good things to help people. No. The moment you only think about save the kids,
That's
right?
your way too.
Yeah, so that's a different mindset.
But be careful. It just doesn't mean reflex too. Reflex is, it could be, it's gray area. It could be. It's not really reflex. It's just the way, just straight from your Buddha nature. That's the way it is. Thusness. So if you want to get to the highest level, the purest level, it's really that thusness, suchness. It just is. You get it? It just is. So that's how you should be. That's it. So we have to understand, learn what is that thusness, that suchness. That's why we study Buddha nature. Understand? So we have to get closer to know what our Buddha, to understand what our Buddha nature is, so that we don't even have to think about it. You get it? It's more advanced, okay? But you know.
Right. So anyways, we have to use this prajna wisdom, right? We use this prajna wisdom, and it can allow us to transcend karma. Okay, transcend. So that's what they're saying. That we can transcend, avoid. Karma means
Or not
what?
create.
There's samsara, right? Yeah, we don't create karma. Because karma leads to samsara, which is the reincarnation, and then also leads to suffering or dukkha. Okay, so we can avoid all that. The idea is to cut it off at the source. Okay, we want to get to the root of the problem, right? Not address the symptoms. Addressing the symptoms doesn't really help. Okay, so a lot of practices they address kind of more
it's temporary.
It's temporary.
It doesn't get to the
Right?
root.
Yeah, so we want to get to the root, which is really inside. Okay, so that's what we want to get to. Right. Okay, so next, all right. So here again in the sutra, right, it says Saliza. Okay, so in the normal translation, that's the name of Sariputra. Okay, that's Sariputra, one of the disciples of Buddha, right? But Lecture Liu, his explanation says that that's true, but it's really referring to the body, okay, the form, okay. So Nirmanakaya and Sambhogakaya, okay, those are our bodies that you can say have form, right? And so what it's talking about those, right? The next two lines says, right, the form or body and void are identical. Okay, so again, we're talking about this emptiness. That there is no difference between having this form and not having the form. Okay, so so this is talking about the 5 skandhas there, right? So the form, the body plus the sensations is kind of what we just talked about, right? Sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness, right? It's all empty, right? And then the next. There's another Sariputra or Saliza. Okay, but then in this sense...
Here's a very simple question. Why we have a body, what we say is empty? Why? Because eventually the body will disappear, right?
It's not permanent.
It's not permanent at all. That's why it's void. That's why.
False self?
Yeah, it's the false self. You
False
can say it's the
self.
false self. I mean, it arises from emptiness, right? Because we didn't exist before, so it was created.
So from nothing
right?
came
From nothing
something.
came something. Okay, so but then it returns to that emptiness. Okay,
One day, right?
Yeah, right. So then now the next thing that it's going to start talking about is, again, it uses the same word, Saliza, but which also is Sariputra. But this instance refers to the Dharmakaya, so that the true Dharma body. Okay, so that's the true formless body that we have. You can say our Buddha nature, right? So now it's talking about that. So it says that the Dharmakaya pervades the entire void in cosmos, right? It's everywhere, right? And all phenomena arises from it and is that Dharmakaya. Okay, so you can,
What Lecture Liu is saying, it's the Trikaya. He's saying that
Part of-
every one of us, if we are at the enlightened level, we are the embodiment of the Trikaya, the three
those
bodies in one, whatever you want to call it, 3 bodies, 3 forms, 3 bodies. Okay, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it is. That's the Trikaya.
Right. Okay, so, but everything arises from that Dharmakaya. Okay, so we typically use Buddha nature as the term, but everything comes from that. So, and because, we'll continue here. All right, so now it's talking about that Dharmakaya. It says it's neither created nor destroyed. So in other words, it always was, it always is, and always will be. Okay, It's neither impure nor pure. Okay, there's no duality. It just is. Okay, it's that thusness, the suchness. Okay, it's neither increasing nor decreasing. So it's
That
complete,
oneness.
right? It's oneness. It doesn't need anything else. It's everything is there. Okay, so that's something that we have to understand. Our Buddha nature is like that. Okay, so these are the qualities of the Buddha nature or the Dharmakaya. It has no form, and Buddha would say it's the true form of the formless. Okay,
Right.
One thing important here is, it means also our Buddha nature is the same Buddha nature like all the other
Yeah,
Buddhas.
they're all the same.
The same. So it's no,
yeah, there's only one really.
no
I mean, there's no
increasing, no
difference.
decrease.
It's that
Same.
one essence.
It's the
It's
one
same
essence.
The same.
essence.
That's why we can become a Buddha.
Yeah, that's why there's no duality.
Yeah.
No duality.
Right, there's only oneness, so there's no, you can't say this is mine and that's yours.
Right.
It's
Or-
all one, it's all
Yes,
one, okay? So that's why the Buddhas, if we're enlightened, then we treat everyone as, all sentient beings as equals, as themselves,
Yeah.
okay? So there's no difference, right? So that's looking at it from that point of view.
Yeah, the reason why, I mean, that's the reason. The reason, or the reason why we say, oh, they're different Buddhas is because they have the Nirmanakaya.
Yeah, they're different.
Get it? The
They're-
Trikaya.
they're
The
transformation.
Dharmakaya is all one. But they also embody the Nirmanakaya. And so the Nirmanakaya that they have, yeah, individuals. Get it? Okay, but that's not the truth. Okay, so just understand because that's Nirmanakaya. We only see 1/3, or it's one, just one. It's a form. It's just a manifestation. But actually, they're all the Dharmakaya. You get it? And that's all
Original
one.
one.
So there's no distinction actually at that level. Okay, so we are not that level yet. Okay.
Okay, so because our Dharmakaya is, it's empty, okay, it's devoid of all these things, that nothing really can affect it, right? So that's why you said earlier that it's not, it doesn't have bad habits, it doesn't have any defilements, right? It's only when we're in this world, when we have that Sambhogakaya or the Nirmanakaya, the transformational body, that we gain those things, okay? But those are not part of that Buddha nature or the Dharmakaya.
That's just a manifestation.
Yeah.
Right, or transformation.
Right, okay, so now it says, okay, so basically it says, these are the qualities of the Dharmakaya, okay, it has no form, no body, okay, no physical body, no, right. So then the next line it says, there's no feeling, no perception, no volition,
Five
no
skandhas.
consciousness,
Or four.
right? So it's saying that the five skandhas are not part of this, right? So it doesn't really exist. Then, if we don't have those, well, basically we don't have the body, right? Then it goes on and says we don't have the six sense faculties, right? The sense of what? Our eyes, right? Our sight, our hearing, our taste, our smell, our touch, and our thoughts, our mind, okay? And then if we don't have that, then there's no six sense objects, right? The forms that they interact with in this world, right? So the hearing, the sounds, sights, etc. Right? So this is all, it's all linked, right? So you can break that link anywhere, then the others don't exist either. Okay. All right. So then it goes on, it says, without the subject-object duality of the sense faculties, right, and the objects and forms, then there is no consciousness of the six sense faculties, right? So basically, this subject-object duality occurs because we have we have this body, we have this sense organs, right, the sense faculties that interact, that make contact with the outside world, with all forms. Okay, so then once you have that contact, so because there's also a separation, right? If you think that we're separated, that we are different from or separated from everything else, and therefore there is that duality of subject and object. Okay, so that's where that comes from. So and incidentally, it says why there are they say there are 18 levels of hell. It's created by the six objects. Multiplied by the six faculties, multiplied by the six consciousness. So that gives you 18. Okay, and so basically what that's saying is that through this process of the skandhas, through our six senses, we create all sorts of karma that then cause us to have to go to these various levels of hell. Okay, to deal with to suffer consequences. Right, and just as an aside, also, you've probably seen 666, the number in Christianity, right? The number of the beast, right? Where did that come from? Why 666? They didn't didn't come out of the air. So this is 666 right here. So we create, in other words, Satan, or they want to say that number of the beast is the Satan.
hell.
It's ourselves. Okay, it's through our attachments, our senses, desires that we become that Satan, that devil. Okay, so as opposed to the Western view is more like it's some external thing that's trying to influence me. No, it's not. We're doing it ourselves. Everything is self-created. Okay, all right. So, anyway, that's just a side note. All right, so goes on. Without ignorance, there will be no aging there. Okay, so now this is the key. It's getting into the 12 nidanas, or the 12 links of dependent origination. So that's what we generally call cause and effect, causality, principle of causality. Okay, so this is very important to understand. Right? Everything, the root is ignorance. You could say the root of all of that is ignorance. And if we can get rid of the ignorance, then likely we won't create ignorance.
It
Right?
says, do not really understand the true principle.
True reality, true principle. It just basically ignorance encompasses many things, but at the highest level, you can say or at the highest level, pinnacle is you are ignorant of our Buddha nature.
And then here, this one question, Holy Qigong teacher asked me 2 months ago in Dharma class. Ignorant means we not understand about 无明就是不觉 not awakened means not means we have a thought 起心动念. That's what ignorance means here. Teacher asked all the masters just 2 months ago in Dharma class in front of everybody. So means we have all the thought. So we have to cut down all the thought. At least best things, no thought is no ignorance. Okay.
So it's ignorant of your Buddha nature, because your Buddha nature really does not require thought. Remember we talked about that in the beginning earlier, right? Remember, if your stomach growls, you know you're hungry. So that's that wisdom comes. It doesn't require thought. That's our Buddha nature. Get it? Everything else that requires a thought, it's all our consciousness. And that's all illusory. Because what? It comes and goes. There's a beginning and end. 有生有死, right? There's a beginning and end, right? It arises and ceases.